Hey everybody. So in this edition of 145 Bootcamp, we're going to talk about something that you do pretty early on in your process, which is research. You might not know what you want to research specifically. You might have a really clear idea. Wherever you are in that, one of the early things we're going to do is look for data and resources, papers that have already been done in that realm. And so what I'm going to do today is take you through the process of using one of our best resources, which is actually the library. I know a lot of people are probably pretty comfortable with doing research, looking at Google or DuckDuckGo or just traditional browser searches, and those are great, and you can get a lot of great info that way. But a really great place to sort of center your research is through your campus library. And so here we are at the MySac State webpage. And the nice thing is that the university, whatever university you're at, they pay for a lot of subscriptions to journal articles. It sounds counterintuitive, but the research that's funded by universities, we still have to pay to get access to in a lot of cases. And so by going through your library, your campus library website, you can shortcut through the process of signing in and get access to these expensive journal articles. So here's my Sac State webpage, right, mycsu.edu. And if I scroll down here, there's a link for the library, and you'll have a similar thing on your webpage. Or you can just go to this campus library website. The frustrating thing is you usually have to log in again, but that's okay. It's totally worth it. And here you can see some of the great resources that the library has to offer, but I usually like to go straight to OneSearch. And OneSearch searches any books or journal articles that are accessible to you. So that includes material that is in the library, journal articles that you can access from other websites, and also things you can get through interlibrary loan, which basically means some other connected library that we have a relationship with has it, even though we don't, and they can usually get books to you within a couple of days. So it's pretty impressive. Maybe not Amazon Prime impressive, but still pretty impressive for modern libraries. You can also always book a research appointment with a research librarian to get help with your research. And then there's also subject librarians. And just real quick, I'm going to show you. This is another really underutilized resource, but we have an economics librarian. It's this lovely man here, Bill Christie. He's a really sweet, amazing guy, and he is an economist and a librarian. And so he's another great resource in terms of jumpstarting your research. If you're not sure, what you want to do, you can access a subject area expert. So that's pretty impressive. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to use OneSearch, and the made-up research subject that I've been working on as an example is looking at consumer confidence and sports. And so let's see what I can find. If I want to find a consumer confidence paper in the realm of economics, and I'll start out with like a medium number of terms, more than one or two terms, but less than say 5 or 6, and just kind of see what comes back to me. And what you'll get is when the library runs this search, you're going to get a list of articles that the nice thing about going through the library is you can look for just journal articles. And that's really important because otherwise you have to, if you're going through DuckDuckGo or Google, you have to do that sorting yourself. But here the library does it for you because they know what we want. We want primary source journal articles from generally reputable journals. And so that's going to cut it down for you a lot. So we can go here and just say, I only want journal articles because I have lots of results. And that will help me willow it down a little bit. And here you can see it's peer-reviewed, open access, and I can go see the full text available. Awesome sauce. What else do I want to know? Oh, well, here, let's see. Mediated uncertainty, the negative impact of uncertainty in economic news on consumer confidence. This is great. This is a paper that might fit into my research hypothesis. I want to look at determinants of consumer confidence, and so this might be really useful for me. I can also see it was published in 2017, recent-ish. Here's another one, also peer-reviewed, also full text available. Good news, bad news, and consumer confidence. That sounds interesting. It's a little bit older, but still cool. And so I can go through and look at these, and then I can click on one, and I get this great summary page. And there are a handful of things that make this great to me. First of all, here it shows a bunch of different articles where I can access, through which I can access the full text of this document. I can print the PDF, I can save the PDF on my computer in usually a folder, right, that has all my research contained in it. I can get information about the authors. Here we have Gregory Casey and Ann Owen, and so I can use this link to go and find out more about these people and other work they've done. I've got sources, and then I can come down here and see where this paper might have been cited in. So who else is looking at this paper and talking about it. And so I can see here it's cited by all these other documents. So that tells me that it's a useful paper that other people found useful. I'm going to go back though, because I didn't mean to click on that. The other thing that's cool, if I click on the summary, and it doesn't always show up, but sometimes they'll give you a summary of the article, which is nice to get the summary before you commit to it. We don't get it here, so I'll show you another one that does do it. But if we go over here, related reading, this is really helpful if you are just starting out, because these related reading articles are papers that are connected to this paper, but not direct duplicates. And so you want to think about a literature review or building a base of knowledge about your subject area as being kind of a wide net where there's some stuff that's very specifically tied to your subject, but you're not going to find 100 papers replicating your specific hypothesis usually. What you will find are all these other papers that are connected in this way. So more consumer confidence-y, or more metrics-y, or more in looking at a specific type of consumer confidence that may or may not be related to your issue. So here we have the impact of newspapers on consumer confidence. Animal spirits, which is what we talk about as, being a driver of market stability. Gender differences in high variance strategies of the tournament. I don't know how that's related, but that's interesting. And so this is a really great way to do what I call rabbit hole research, where you let yourself kind of fall down that rabbit hole of what about this article? What about this article? What about this article? You can't do it forever, but it's a good way to get a good look at what kind of literature is out there for your research subject that is reasonable and reliable, right? Good quality journal articles. Relationship between parental racial attitudes and children's, that's not quite the same things, right? So some of the stuff is more related and less related. And so that's interesting. So I'm going to go click here and get the full text of it from JSTORs. I don't need to see the license. I just want the article. So I'll click on that link. And it should link me to, I picked JSTOR because I'm familiar with the website. I've done a lot of searching on JSTOR, but all the other ones should have worked. I'm going to go ahead and accept cookies. And here we can look at the next thing I want to see, which is what this abstract tells us. And the abstract is going to give me a summary of the paper. Testing for asymmetric reactions of consumer confidence in news media, examine the relationship between media reporting and consumer confidence using University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. We find evidence of asymmetric reactions by consumers to changes in economic fundamentals, no evidence of a systematic negativity bias, no evidence of a bias in the media. So that explains where some of those media papers came from. And then I can go ahead and I can pull a citation for this, either the MLA style, Chicago style, or APA style. What I like to do is copy and then open up a Word document and save all of those in one place for myself. Let's see if this is going to work. Here we go. And so I'll just go ahead and save this citation, and then that makes it a lot easier to do my bibliography later on down the road. So I can say consumer confidence resources papers. And then I can just go ahead and paste that there. Oops, that went really far down. What happened to the formatting here? That's weird. I must have accidentally inserted a page break. But there, see, now it's already in Chicago style or MLA style, whatever you prefer, and then I can just go ahead and automatically sort them. So if I come back here and let's say I decide I also want this consumer confidence paper, I can easily insert the citations into that document, right? And you can even do it from here. Usually you can go in and ask for the citation here in the OneSearch page. Let's see. Can I, or did I just lie to you all? Let's go read it online. Most websites will give you that option because there, see, it's a different website, ProQuest, but they'll give me the citation in, I want Chicago style. You can do it with or without bibliography notes, but I don't want bibliography notes. I just want that perfect citation right there. Copy, paste. And one thing you do want to be careful of is the formatting. So I've got Casey first, then Matsuka, and if I'm going to do a hanging indent like I do here, I can go ahead and copy that to here because I want my formatting to be the same. And you can always clean that stuff up later, and we'll talk more about that later. But the cool thing is now I've got a couple of papers. I can do citations. I can download a PDF of this if I accept terms and conditions, which I do. I can print out a hard copy if I want to, make notes. So yeah, that is a great way to get access to papers, right? I can go back here and see, okay, here's another paper I found. This one is available physically in the library on the 3rd floor with periodicals. There's online access. I can get the PDF. It's peer reviewed. It's older. I can see where it's available online. And here again, I can search those authors. I can see what subjects it's related to and look up more stuff about consumer confidence. Here now I've got this one has the summary, which is nice. So I can just read the summary and see, okay, in this little short paragraph, this tells me whether or not I like this paper for my research. And then sources that cite this paper and sources that this paper has cited in it. So really cool research. And then also the related readings again, which gives you another look at what else might be relevant to my research. So those are some of the things that make searching through the library really easily. There's this easy bibliography that will also be helpful to you. You can email stuff to yourself. You can download permalinks to these files. You can download the citations at any time from here without even going into the paper. So here's the citation that I could just copy in the same way I did before. Oops, there we go. And it should be the same. It's a different format, but you can see. So you have to pick your format and see which one you like the best. The most important thing is always going to be either match the formatting style that your professor asks for, and then be consistent. The most important thing in the world is to be consistent. Okay, so that's the main thing with that. It seems like we might be being nitpicky about the formatting. There are reasons why formatting is important. We'll talk about that more when we talk about formatting specifically, but the basic idea is that consistent formatting makes it easier to process that information. And if you want your reader to understand your paper, you want to make it easy for them. And that's the easiest way to make it easy is have consistent formatting. Other things that make OneSearch a great way, the library a great way to search your papers is if you back out of here. The other thing you can do is you've got these little notes here that are shortcuts to finding cited sources, to getting that citation. And then you can also add papers to lists. So see, now I've just decided this is one of my favorites. And while I'm working on a research project, maybe I want to go through and just sort of click a bunch of these ones that I think will be useful and add them to my favorites. And then I can always come back later on and say, oh yeah, that was that paper that I read. I forgot to write it down, but I really liked it. So that's a really easy way to track your research because it seems like it's not going to happen, but you will forget what paper had what. And so this is a really great tool. So this is my not so short way of saying that the library is a great place to search. And you can always do you can do a lot of specifications for your search, for your research. You can do an advanced search if you know exactly what you're looking for, right? So you can specify, I want the author's name to be, the subject area to be, the ISBN number to be. You can also go over and click some of these things here, like maybe I don't want anything older than 1999 to current. Maybe I want to be specific about only looking at economics journals, something like that. So you can set those qualifiers also to narrow your research down or loosen your research up, depending on what you're looking for. So that's my quick one-over on how to use OneSearch and why OneSearch is superior to, say, Google Scholar even, because it's all run through the library, and so it'll get you into the full text more easily. It'll help you track your citations more easily, and it'll help you keep, so you got your citation linker, you've got all of these little great searches up here. It can help you research databases, and you can always go back and check out your favorites, which is another great resource. See, how cool is that? Okay, so hopefully I have convinced you that you should be using the library for your search, or at the very least that it's a great tool to have in your econ tool belt. So that's library OneSearch. Is it the only search you should use? No. Feel free to use other searches, but it does a lot of things for you, right? It gets your citations in, it lets you usually see a preview of the article, it gets you logged into expensive journals in advance, it helps track your research, and it also does the job that is kind of one of the challenging jobs of research in the modern era. Is it does the job of telling you what's reliable, because it already kind of skims out anything that's not a journal that we would accept here on campus as being a reliable news source. So I think it's really useful. You can still use Google and you can use secondary sources, but I think that's a really great way to start, is use the library OneSearch and get your, at least the skeleton of your research done there. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully this was useful to you, and I'll see you in another video.